Monday, September 23rd, 2024. I've just decided to look because I can't seem to remember it for 3 seconds what the date is. So, the view today, it's very annoying when someone that the women are clearly fond of or personally know find themselves in the headlines. Because there's weird backpedaling and kind of like, uh, you know, um, sort of some special treatment that's given to some people, and it just seems like there's a little bit of disingenuousness and hypocrisy that happens when it's someone that they know or like, that's is sort of in a hot seat. So over the weekend, I guess, um, there was an article that came out with an interview with Janet Jackson in which she said um, she didn't think that the vice president was black, and that Kamala Harris is. She said she heard that Kamala Harris's father was white. So that's not good. And then, which is weird that they would publish that and not give her an opportunity to retract it or, clarify it. But so that got published. So then there was an apology that was released um, to the press, basically, that she was incorrect and misspoke. And then her team issued another statement that said, no, actually, the apology was not authorized by Janet Jackson. And then the dude that issued the apology got fired. So, and Whoopi went on this whole thing. People are wrong. People make mistakes. People are wrong. Give the girl a break. Blah blah blah. It's not that she said something wrong, which is bad. Everyone talked about the weird. It's obviously she's in a sort of a news and information silo that is giving her incorrect information, and which is bad enough. But then uh, when it's clearly an incorrect statement, and you don't need to do a lot of research to figure out that Kamala Harris is black. Um, but uh, I don't know what happened how this apology got issued unsanctioned. But I would think someone would be thankful. Okay, phew, got me out of that hot water. But instead, it's like, you know, I'll take making it worse for 200, Alex, and then double down on my mistake by retracting the apology and firing the guy who made the apology. Um, I mean, that is the problem. It's not that she's, I mean, it's a problem that she said it to begin with, but um, I feel the bigger problem is then she just made it 100 times worse by uh, by not uh, by not just letting the apology stand. What it's saying is, I stand by the original thing that I said, which is incorrect and racist bullshit. But somebody put online, I don't think Janet Jackson should be talking about whether or not someone is black or not when she's breathing through a white woman's nose. Sorry. Um, and and she's grieving her brother. Yeah, Tito died. I get it, but well, then don't do the interview, but apologize. Like, I don't get it. It's not that. It just isn't. It just doesn't seem that difficult. And for Sonny Hostin to say, "I'm not going to give this any air," but talk for 4.5 minutes about it, you just gave it air by saying you're not going to give it air. You're on a television program that gives these things air. It's already there. You can't now then just say, I'm going to ignore it after talking about it for 4 minutes. Um, so it's, it, you know, Kamala Harris doesn't have to mention it, and she won't. But Sonny, that's your job. It's the topic on the table. Um, so it, you can say it's best not to give it air, but you can't say you're not going to give it any air when you literally just spoke about it for 4 minutes anyway. Um, so so that was frustrating. Everybody's kind of trying to backpedal and soften the blow to Janet. And does this mean Janet Jackson gets canceled? No, but it is real dumb. Um, and then they talked today about the RFK Olivia Nuzzi affair, which I guess apparently wasn't, they say, physical. I don't buy that, but whatever. And here's again Sonny saying they were demure nudes. She sent him demure nudes. On Friday, weren't you just, bashing the hypocrisy of the Republicans for loving Melania's nude photography, um, and calling that pornography? Like, I don't, you can't, you just don't get it both ways. Um, and Whoopi it is very consistent about this. Just don't take the pictures and don't send them to anybody. Like, it's not smart. Um, and everybody should know, what the phones are listening. Everything's in the cloud. Everything's hackable. If it's on your phone, it's accessible by someone if they really want to find it. Um, and I disagree that it's going to be such a problem because it is so prolific. It's just, I don't think the next generation of people are going to care. If you hacked into somebody's phone and stole their pictures, it would be like, yeah, well, we've all got pictures like that. You shouldn't steal them. I think there's a little more discernment there, through the next generations that have grown up with this technology than the older generations that didn't. It's still smart practice not to do it, and not to send them. But I thought the one thing that Whoopi said that was the most practical is, like, you got to think about who's on the other end of that and how they would use that information, and that image of you and about you, um, you know, if things aren't so friendly, uh, and what kind of person they are, and what kind of things that they do with information that they've received like that in the past. Um, you avoid the people that want to use you for their own, social engagement, or political empowerment, or if there anybody's trying to use anything about you for their own gain, whether it's to tell your stories, or to use your work for their benefit. Those are the kind of people that you just want to stay away from and not provide that information to. So anyway, and then there's, Amy Melissa Farrah Griffin, who's just like, I know her and she was really helpful to me. And uh, Sunny said, she's a 31-year-old young reporter. She's not young. 31 is not that young. That is old enough to know what you're doing. She's been in that business for a long time. She got noticed as like a teenager. So it's like she's not brand new. And if you're doing a profile on RFK Jr., you should know what a philanderer he is. And like, fine, if you're naive enough to get sucked up into it, and do that, that doesn't really bode well. And the question on the View was, why is she taking all the flack and not him? It's because she was doing the profile on him. It's a conflict of interest from her job to file a an article about someone that she's having a personal relationship with. That's why. And no, Amy Melissa Fowler Griffin was like, she's this lauded journalist. No, you know what? She's always been fairly right wing leaning. Um, and no, she fucked up. Um, does she deserve to lose her career? No, she should lose her career because of the ridiculous things that she has put in her articles. But again, I think if all she did was send him some nudes, and the only reason we know about it is because he bragged about it. Um, they'll do their little investigation. Whether or not she stays with New York Magazine, her career's not over. I just don't think we don't cancel people that quickly for that stuff anymore. I don't think. Um, so two sort of non-stories about women who did an oopsie. Um, but yeah, it's upsetting that if we're going to talk about RFK Jr., yes, the whatever. This is his fault that this is even in the news. But he is under federal investigation for stealing a whale head. He's also in swing states suing to get his name off the ballot because he doesn't want to steal votes from Donald Trump. But in other states, like New York, he's suing to keep his name on the ballot or get his name put back on the ballot after being taken off. So he wants it both ways. He wants to be able to affect votes uh, dynamically between states, depending on what he thinks is the best move. The other thing that's going on is that in Montana, the Secretary of State left Kamala Harris's name off of the mail-in ballots. That seems highly illegal. She's been in trouble before for doing shenanigans. She has no business being the Secretary of State in charge of anything if she's going to be that biased and politically motivated. That kind of bullshit pisses me off. In Nebraska, the GOP is trying to because they don't do a winner take all. They do a prorated electors. So usually around Omaha, that's one or two electors that end up blue out of the rest of the state being red, and the GOP is trying to coerce Nebraska. I don't know who it is. I guess the state government to switch back to winner take all, which sucks. And there's some sort of shenanigans going on in Georgia, but I can't remember what it is. Um, like that stuff, that's the stuff that scares me. It's that I think that the electorate is going to get it right. What I'm more concerned about is red areas, and even if it's down to the polling station, fucking things up and voter intimidation. And I've done training to be at a polling place, and I just can't imagine anyone being that petty. And there's so much protocol and so much reconciliation that has to be done. It's upsetting. And then Pennsylvania also uh, upheld the rule that if you don't have um, the date that you mailed your absentee ballot clearly labeled on the outside of the envelope, then they're throwing it away. So this kind of bullshit needs to stop. We need some standardization in election rules for federal elections. So that's why we need to vote for the Democrats up and down the ticket. And I keep going to the local office because they say they're open every day from 10 to 8 to go get my yard signs, and they're not open. So I know they're not open on Mondays, but it says every other day but Mondays. So I can't go today. I tried yesterday. Locked. I can see the signs. I just can't get to them. Anyway, so that's my complaint for Monday.